Spike's New Brother Chapter 4 A New Life. Name's John, newest resident of Equestria, and if you want a brother, Spike, John said, now holding out his hand to shake Spike's claw. Spike only looked at John in amazement and shock. He wasn't the only one. Twilight and Celestia was dumbfounded. A human in Equestria? Twilight questioned. Where did he come from? Why is he here? I don't know, Twilight, but let's all calm down for the moment, Celestia added as she trotted up to John, trying to get some answers of what was going on. John noticed her approaching, and the moment he laid eyes on her, the small child within him started freaking out. Oh my god! Princess Celestia, Princess of the Sun! It is an honor to make your acquaintance! John said, bowing on one knee. He couldn't believe he was actually talking to her. Celestia was taken back. Not only did this human know of her name, but he was also aware of her title as the Sun Princess. She was quite shocked at his manners, and he was acting almost like Spike in a way. She could tell right then and there that besides Spike, this human had a big heart, and Celestia smiled. She knew that she could trust him for some strange reason, and she knew that he wasn't really going to cause any troubles here. My, what manners. It's not every day that a being from another world treats me with such respect on the first meeting, but I must ask, where did you come from? How did you get here? Why are you here? Celestia asked the human, trying to piece together this strange situation. John looked at Celestia right in the eyes and gave her a smile. Well, as Twilight Sparkle mentioned, I am a human, and I've come from a place called Earth, and it's always been my dream to come and live here in Equestria. Twilight trotted up to him, circled him, looking over from top to bottom. She still couldn't believe that a human was here in Equestria, no less. Twilight was about to ask John a question, but he placed his hand over her mouth. No, Twilight Sparkle, I am no illusion, and no, I'm not here to cause any problems for Equestria, and yes, I came from the human world. The same world where you went to get your crown back from Sunset Shimmer, and yes, I know about the crown too. The elements of harmony, you, the main six, Discord, everything about Equestria, I know. Twilight, Celestia, as well as Spike just couldn't believe what was happening, and were very, very shocked to hear this. Spike walked up between John, Twilight, and Celestia while rubbing the side of his head with his claws. Wow. Okay, is John, that was it? I know for a fact that you're a human. Yes, you come from Earth, or as we call it, the human world, but that doesn't explain how you know me, my mother, Twilight, and, well, everything else. Twilight was shaking her head in agreement. Spike's right. How does this human John know so much about us? He knew about Celestia, Luna, all my friends, the elements of harmony, and even Discord. How does this human really know? Twilight thought for a few seconds. John just chuckled, and he was aware of the strange looks that they were giving him, and he couldn't blame them, but he donned a serious face, and he turned towards Celestia and Twilight and then spoke to them. Your Highnesses, I will gladly tell you everything about how I know you and answer all of your other questions soon. He then turned to Twilight with a mean look. As for you, Twilight, I'm here to fix the mess you made with Spike. Now, Twilight was shocked, and so was Celestia, for neither of them could say anything. John turned around and went over to Spike. He got about 5 inches away from Spike's face. Look, Spike, you don't know me, but I know a lot about you, and what I can tell you is that you're giving up way too quickly. I don't know what's wrong with you, but my guess is that you're about to leave this world through the portal just as I came through, and the only question is, I want to ask, are you insane? Spike was dumbfounded. He didn't really know or think or anything about what to say. Here was this human that just popped out of nowhere, talking to him like they had been close for years, but Spike quickly shook it off. Look, John, you don't know what I've been through tonight. I was disowned by my sister on my birthday, no less. All these years I thought I was her brother, and turns out I'm nothing more than a pet, a servant, or what topped it off was, and listen to this, she called me a mindless beast. So tell me what you know of being betrayed after all these years by some pony you thought was your family. Twilight, upon hearing this, was shocked. Spike, I never thought of you as a pet or servant, but as a friend and a brother, as my #1 assistant. I could never hate you, Spike. Spike only looked towards Twilight, rolling his eyes at her. Sure, replied Spike in a sarcastic tone, and I'm king of Equestria. At that point, John had enough of Spike's attitude. Yo, Spike, I think I can help you with that attitude of yours. Just hold still for 1 second. Spike didn't know what to make of it. What are you... But before Spike could finish, John balled up his fist, pulled back, and without missing a beat, swung at Spike with all of his might, knocking him 5 feet across the room. There you go, my dragon brother. Maybe that'll knock some sense into you, replied John with a smile. Plus, since Spike's scales was like armor, he had also bruised his hand. Spike! Both Twilight and Celestia cried out as they galloped towards him. Spike was feeling the effects of the punch as Twilight and Celestia helped him up on his feet. Spike started to growl and clenched his fist, and he walked over to grab John's shirt. What the buck was that for? What did I do to you? Twilight was worried, and John was just a human. Spike a dragon, he could easily rip John to shreds. Twilight was about to race between them until Celestia placed her hoof in front of her. No, replied Celestia. Twilight only looked at her mentor with confusion. Why are you stopping me? Spike might hurt him or worse. Celestia looked at Twilight. That's possible, but something tells me that's not the case. This human John, he reminds me a lot like Spike in a way. Don't ask me how I know, Twilight, I just do. He also might be the one to help you with Spike, Twilight. Twilight once again looked at her mentor in confusion. She didn't know how this human could help her, if at all. Right now she was more worried about Spike destroying him completely. John, still in Spike's grasp, decided he had enough, and he swatted away Spike's claw with little effort. This took Spike off by surprise. Look, I was only knocking some sense into you. My guess, you're probably going through so much pain you actually think you can escape it by going to another world? That's just dumb, especially when you have a whole bunch of friends and family that care for you. I should know. While it's true that I left my world for almost the same reasons, except major differences than yours, I have no family. I lost my mother and father when I was only 3, and I was not going to be stuck in some orphanage when they don't give a crap about you. Instead, for 10 years, I lived off on the streets and walked all over the world, well, from city to city to be exact, doing odd jobs, just barely getting by, fighting off starvation, hunger, and disease every single day. And just when you think you finally found that one job that you spent 30 days and 30 nights rehearsing for, only to find out that some guy beat you to it, thus having your dreams shattered as well as your future, well, I don't know what's been going on here, but before I came, let's just say you have a better life. The room fell silent. Spike couldn't say a word, and all he had to do was rub the back of his head with his claw. Meanwhile, Twilight, have heard John's whole life story, had tears in her eyes. In that moment, she wanted to hold him, to give him comfort before she could do anything. Celestia trotted up to him and placed a wing over him and pulled him to a tight hug. John was shocked. Princess, what are you doing? I'm so sorry. Your life must have been a tough one. Losing your parents at such a young age, plus fighting for your very own life, only to have your dreams shattered, yet you still carry on. I don't know the reason why the portal opened up for you, but by seeing how it was right before Spike was about to leave, it would seem you were destined to be here. I don't see any problem with you living here, John, as of now. You are a citizen of Equestria, and I welcome you home, she said with a smile. John couldn't believe his ears. The very thing he wanted more than anything in the world, for any world, finally happened in seconds. For that matter, it was everything he had dreamed, and tears almost formed in his eyes, but he got himself together and walked back towards Spike. Look, Spike, I know everything is really confusing right now, and I don't know what happened here or what led you to almost throw everything away, but I know you're better than that. I don't know what pain you're going through, but I'm here for you, man, or dragon, he said with a chuckle. I do know one thing, though. Even if you were to leave, so what? The pain would only follow you to the end of your days until you face it. But if you let me and the others, you know, Rarity, Fluttershy, Pinkie Pie, Rainbow Dash, Applejack, Trixie, Twilight, Luna, and your mom help you get through this, then there would be no point for you to leave this magical place. I'm just surprised that you don't know how good you have it here. You have all of these beautiful things and beings that care about you. With them at your side, you can do anything. Spike was speechless. No one had really ever talked to him this way. It was as if he was talking to a brother, like a brother that looked out for him, that cared about him more than anything else. Spike clenched his claws, tears forming in his eyes. But the pain, it hurts. I've never felt anything like this, and what's worse is it was caused by one being I called a sister. Spike, Twilight said in a whisper, tears now forming in her eyes once again. Celestia noticed this and only hung her head down after she placed a wing over Twilight's shoulder, trying to comfort her. John noticed that, even if Twilight had heard him, he noticed that she really didn't mean that. Something else was affecting Spike, clouding his judgment. And John looked at Spike and took a deep breath. Boy, oh boy, what did I get myself into? John then hugged Spike out of nowhere, and Spike was taken aback. Listen, Spike, I don't really know what Twilight did to hurt you, but look, just look in her eyes. It's clear she didn't mean to, and she's trying her best to keep you here because she loves you. I know it won't be easy, but if you just let us help, we can do this one step at a time. What do you say, brother? John broke his embrace with Spike to give them the time to think it through. Celestia only smiled hearing everything John said. My goodness, it seems that this vast universe heard my plea and sent someone to help my son, and they gave him a great gift. This night, whether Spike realizes it or not, he has gained a brother, one that will stand by his side no matter what. Even though I'm a celestial being and have lived for many years, but it seems I still have much to learn about this vast universe in which we still live in, replied Celestia with a smile. Twilight now had a smile on her face. It would seem so, your highness. It would appear so. John overheard the two princesses talking. He was honored and happy that they thought that way of him. However, Spike was still very confused. He knew John's words were true, but the pain hard fought with his mind, and he didn't know what to do. He'd never really been in a situation like this, and in that moment Spike dropped to his knees, his claws on his head. John, Celestia, and Twilight all raced over to him. Spike, are you alright? John asked with a worried look. Spike, we're here for you. It's okay, Twilight added. It's alright, my son. Your family is here. All of us are here, Celestia said, comforting Spike. Spike! Shouted seven mares in unison. John and the others turned around to a hole in the wall to see Luna, Rainbow Dash, Fluttershy, Pinkie Pie, Rarity, Applejack, Trixie, and as well as Twilight's mother and father in shining armor. John saw them galloping towards Spike and the others. He had one thought in mind. Stampede! Stampede! Hit the dirt! And that's exactly what he did. He barely managed to escape with his life as the others raced towards Spike. Wow, okay. Barely managed to get out of the way there. But he didn't mind. He was happy. They were there before him, and most of his heroes from his favorite show were there, but it wasn't a show anymore. He was living in that world with his new home, and he loved every second of it. Meanwhile, every pony was bombarding Spike with questions. Spiky Bear, were you really thinking about leaving us? Spike, if you have a problem or feeling hurt, you can count on us. Yes, darling, you should know that by now. You should also know that we all love you, Spike, and if you were to leave, I don't know what I would do without you. Spike the Dragon, not cool trying to ditch us like that, but I gotta say, starting in the morning is like nothing but non-stop training. You're almost as fast as me. With some fine-tuning, you and I will be the fastest things in Equestria. I see what you were up to give up, Spike. Whatever the pain you're going through, well, we're here for you. By all that is Equestria, never ever do that to us again. You expect me after finally finding my special sumpony, in which case happens to be a dragon, leaves to another world? Rubbish. Spike finally got back to his feet, tears in his eyes, and it finally sank in. John's words. Spike knew he was right all along, and he couldn't believe that he was actually about to leave. He couldn't quite forgive Twilight just yet, but he couldn't leave everything he had known just to try and escape from some heartbreak. He felt foolish. Thank you, everyone. I'm sorry, Applejack, Fluttershy, Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie, Rarity, and Trixie. Hey, now thou art forgetting some pony? Luna began. Spike turned around to see his Aunt Luna trotting towards him. She rubbed the top of his head with her hoof, tears in her eyes. Young dragon, do not worry me or your mother like that ever again. You nearly gave me a heart attack, Luna said, feeling relieved that Spike is back to his old self again. That makes the two of us indeed. Don't ever do that again, Spike. Now, let's close this portal. Oh my, the portal closed itself. Huh. How did that happen? Oh well, I guess that's another question for some other time. You said it. Let's go home. This night has been all kinds of Wait a minute. Trixie, what did you just call me? At that moment, every pony turned to Trixie, including John, waiting for an explanation. Did I stutter? Trixie began. I called you my special sumpony because you are. What? Did you really think you're going to kiss me like that at the lake and then run out on me? I don't think so. Shining Armor looked at his brother curiously. So did his mother, adoptive mother, and father. They weren't at the lake when it happened. Little bro, what is she talking about? What in the world have you been doing since you left the library? At that moment, Spike was freaking out in his mind. How can he explain this to his brother Shining and his mother and father? Son, are you two dating? Spoke Nightlight. I didn't know you had it in you. Good for you. Oh, my little dragon. It felt just like yesterday when Twilight brought you home to live with us. You weren't our son by blood, but you became part of our family nevertheless, and now you're all grown up and you have your very special sumpony. I couldn't be happier. Twilight Velvet cheered in glee. Spike, you little romantic. And here I thought you'd never get over your crush with Rarity, but it seems I was dead wrong. That's my little brother, Shining Armor said as he hoof-bumped Spike. At this point, Spike had turned from purple to crimson red. Spike couldn't be more embarrassed than he has ever been before, but unknowing to him, it was going to get a lot worse and also funny at the same time. Hold it. I don't think so. I mean, he's too young, replied Twilight, coming behind Shining and Spike. making sure to keep Spike away from the other mares that obviously had their eyes on him. However, the girls were not just going to take it like that. Now, hold on there, Twilight. Now, I know you're back to normal, but to tell you the truth, you really have no say in this. From what we heard from Luna, is that Spike is the right age to decide who he wants as a special sun pony. And for your information, young gals love a good, hard-working pony who looks to boot, Applejack said, winking at Spike. John had placed himself in the far corner of the room. He felt it was best for him to stay out of this, but what he just heard made his jaw drop. He started pointing out his fingers, trying to count out how many mares were going to confess their love to Spike. That's one, he said with a chuckle. Up next was Fluttershy. Excuse me, but I think I'm the best choice for him. He's kind, and I'm kind, and he likes animals, I like animals. We've known each other for such a long time, and, well, I think I'm better for him. Now at this point, Shining went over to John and just looked at him dead in the eyes. Hey, said Shining, extending a hoof to shake John's hand. You must be from the human world. John shook his hoof with a smile. Sure is the days long. How's your wife Cadence? It must be tough ruling the Crystal Empire. Before you say anything, I know about you. Your family, Cadence, your marriage, and the battle against Chrysalis. The whole enchilada. Trust me, I'll explain it later. Shining only looked at him with a smile. Okay, I'm a little confused on how you know all this, but you seem like a trustworthy guy, so I'll trust you. By the way, do you know what's going on between Spike and Twilight's friends? No, I don't. First Trixie, now Applejack and Fluttershy. So far, that's 3. What? I was too busy talking to you. 2 more? My little brother had turned into a Casanova. While John and Shining were bursting out into laughter, Spike was trying to figure out what the buck was going on between the human and the main 6 and Trixie. He tried keeping everything calm between them, but so far, no luck. Girls, calm down. You're acting like little children. What's going on? Spike questioned, figuring out the situation. My darling, you haven't figured it out yet. As of tonight, you are my special sun pony, and I yours, Rarity said with a seductive wink. I can already see it now. You, me, 1 year from now with the little ones running around calling us Mama and Papa. Spike at that moment was in his own little world. He can only think of one thing to say in his mind. What? I must be dreaming. I must be dreaming. This can only happen in my dream, but it's not a dream. Rarity just asked me out. Better yet, she proposed to me. Holy Equestria, I am in heaven. Not only that, but Applejack and Fluttershy as well as Trixie. What's going on here? Just then, Pinkie Pie came in between Spike and Rarity. She then snatched Spike in a tight hug, trying to keep him all to herself. If you think you were just going to keep this handsome dragon for yourself, then you better think again. It's going to be me. I'm more fun, lovable, and when it comes to it, satisfy my dragon's hunger. I'm a great cook. Rarity, you're not the only one who wants to start a family with him, and if you think I'm going to give him up without a fight, then you thought wrong. Spike was shocked beyond belief, more so than he had been in his entire life. Heck, this night alone he had lost the track of how many times he was shocked. Next up was Applejack, and she tilted her hat ready for action. Look here now, if any pony's more suited for Spike, it'd be me. He's a hard worker, I'm a hard worker. Dedicated, gladly puts himself before others, and does 1,000% to everything he does. Heck, my ideal male, and I'm the same, so it's only natural that we marry. Just then it dawned to Spike that there was one pony left, and he turned to her. You too, Dash? No way. Rainbow Dash was hovering above the others, listening what they had to say. She then turned to Spike, shrugged her shoulders, and chuckled. Hey, what can I say? Mare's gotta settle down sometimes, and who better than with you? Because you're so awesome, Spike. You have to be the fastest thing on 2 feet, and we'll be the greatest flyer when you get your wings. Well, besides me, that is, and then we'll be the fastest things on land and in the sky. Rainbow Dash landed right next to Spike and whispered in his ear, And trust me, the fun part next is starting a family. She then gave him a kiss on the cheek with a seductive wink. He had never seen this side from her before. After all was said and done, Spike's mother and father, as well as Shining and John, busted out laughing. And that makes it 6. Well, Shining, looks like you're gonna have 6 more sisters very soon, John said, chuckling so hard he could barely breathe. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have 6 more daughters. I never thought this day would ever come. I mean, I knew it would come one day, but 6, I couldn't be any happier. Every pony turned to see Twilight Velvet bouncing up and down in pure joy of the wonderful news she had just heard. And grandchildren even. Oh my, so much to do and start making names, dresses, and toys. Twilight Velvet squealed with joy. Nightlight was quiet through all this, but then exploded in laughter. Spike, you little son of a gun. I didn't know you had it in you. Stay strong, boy. It's not going to be easy tackling on that many mares, especially if you're going to have children. Shining Armor was dumbfounded, but he shook it off and snuck behind Spike, grabbing him in a headlock and started rubbing his head with the hooves. Why, you little romantic. All these years I thought you were just a baby brother dragon, but in truth you were a mare slayer. When were you gonna tell us? Cadence is gonna be thrilled. She's gonna get 6 new sisters and a year after that some nieces and nephews. He looked Spike up and down and looked at the 6 mares. Make that a lot of nieces and nephews, he said as he continued to laugh. Twilight had been listening to the whole conversation the entire time, and she could not believe what she was hearing. Marriage, children, new sisters, and at that point she just about had it, and she revealed by accident a very important secret to everybody.
Over my dead body! I've known him the longest. I've been with him through thick and thin. I know what he likes and dislikes, so if there's any pony that's gonna marry him, it's gonna be without a doubt me. I'm not saying this because me and Flash didn't work out. I've been loving him since I can't remember. It just took me this long to figure out how much I love him. No pony's gonna get him but me. And if any other pony thinks otherwise, they're in for the fight of their life.
The room fell silent. At first, Twilight didn't really know what was going on, but 5 seconds later, it hit her. She just told every pony she had a major crush on Spike. Heck, Twilight just told every pony that she was going to marry him. Twilight put a hoof over her mouth, blushing profusely, and she looked around nervously at every pony in the room. Shining Armor, Twilight's parents, Celestia, Luna, John, Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy, Rarity, Trixie, and Applejack looked at Twilight. Let's just say, a whole new light.
Oh my gosh, sweetie, is this true? Why didn't you tell us this sooner?
Nightlight only exploded into laughter once again. That's my girl. I can say without a doubt that this one is one of the greatest nights to be a parent.
I couldn't agree more, replied Velvet with tears in her eyes. My baby girl's in love. I could die happy now.
John was so in shock, yet found this so funny. He had only a few words to say. That makes 7. Good luck, Romeo. You're gonna need it. Luna had been silent most of all, but now it was her turn to get in on the fun. Realizing the immediate danger had passed, she looked towards John's direction. John noticed this and stopped his laughter, then he bent down on one knee.
Princess Luna, Princess of the Knight of Equestria, it is an honor, my lady. Same here. I must say you have the nicest manners I have ever met besides Spike, of course.
John said with a smile.
What do you expect? We are brothers now. So it would seem. Now back to the manor at Hoof.
She then addressed her nephew.
Spike, what you are currently going through is called Dragon Heartbreak. It is when you receive a heartbreak so painful, so unbearable, you do anything to stop it. My sister and I should have prepared you for this long ago just in case, but we thought you'd never go through with it.
Spike looked over at Celestia.
Is that true?
Spike walked over to her son, placing her forehead on his.
Yes, my son, but you must understand, it was not Twilight's fault. It was actually King Sombra. Sombra? How is that possible? He was defeated, and I helped defeat him. How can he do this from beyond the grave? Calm down, my son. I will explain everything tomorrow morning. After all, there's so much to be done, so many things to do. First, I have to fix the wall I destroyed, reseal the portal, reseal the seals you destroyed, talk to the mayor of Ponyville about getting John a new house, now that he is living here.
Just then, the sinister smirk was back on Celestia's face. Luna noticed this and tried to intervene.
Now, dear sister, are you sure you want to go through with Luna? I am more sure now than ever. John coming here, keeping my son from leaving me, plus all these young ladies in love of my son. You think I'm going to let this opportunity pass me without a fight?
Celestia said towards her sister Luna with a famous poker face.
You have another thing coming, sister.
Luna just blushed a deep crimson, red, and started laughing. Then turned to Spike with a playful yet sinister look.
Good luck, my boy. Try not to die on us. I would like to be a great aunt.
Spike was just staring at his aunt and mother. The whole time he was only wondering what in the Sam Hay was going on. Plus John popping out of nowhere, stopping him from leaving this world to go to another, finding out he calls himself his brother and he's gonna live in Ponyville, not that he didn't mind. However, finding out 7 mares that Spike had known for years, especially his sister, not so long ago, a few hours in fact, broke his heart, just admitted that she was in love with him and wanted to have his children. Then that was the final straw for Spike. He just sat there clapping his hands together before getting up. Okay, so far this has been one of the strangest days in my life. I've been through some doozies, yet there's one thing to ask. Now, what was it? I think I can remember. Oh, I remember. What the buck is going on here? What plan? What opportunity? Can someone just come up and say what's going on? Just give it to me straight, please. It was Celestia's turn to laugh her guts out. She was then composing herself and decided just to go up and tell him.
Well, Spike, you get older, as you know, and I've been thinking about your future. At first I wasn't sure, but now I am, Spike. I now adopt thee as my official heir to the kingdom, along with Twilight, Cadence, and Luna.
Spike was dumbfounded, as was everyone else.
Wow, Mom, thank you. I can't believe this. This makes me a prince.
Celestia smiled.
Yes, it does, my son, but I'm not done yet. Now, being an heir, you must have heirs of your own.
She then looked towards the 7 mares. Spike noticed and looked back to his mother's direction, then it hit him again. Really hard.
You don't mean you're kidding me, right? You can't be serious.
Spike asked, hoping his mother was messing with him. Once again, the sinister smile was on Celestia's face.
I do, my son, and it's not requested as I'll know you'll turn it down, so it's more of a motherly order.
Every pony leaning in wanted to know what the rule was. Just then, Celestia blew the roof off the castle.
Spike, you are to marry all 7 mares by the end of this week. Ah, so much to do. I must have to craft ponies, build new rooms in the castle for you and your families. I cannot wait to hear the sounds of my soon-to-be grandchildren.
Hearing this made Spike have a disturbing smile.
Well, that's it for me. Brains overloaded, shutting down. Good night.
Plop! Spike fell over unconscious instantly.
Spike!
Every pony shouted. Every pony ran towards him, and all except John holding his sides laughing so hard that it was starting to hurt him.
Man, my life has changed for the better. One thing's for sure, it's good to be a whole lot more fun around here.